Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and a podcast engineer here. Now we're excited to bring you another episode of the World of Pets with Debbie Hayes. So this is going to be a fun show since it's all about our furry friends, and with it being an animal house, it's going to be fun. So we are here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central. If anybody's looking to be a guest or learn more at Zone, please connect with us and get that taken care of. But I'm going to pass it over to Debbie here to kick us off and introduce our guest at Zone. So welcome,
Thank
Debbie.
you, Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah. So here we are at the World of Pets podcast. And what we say about our pets is that we want them to feel safe with us. We want them to live a really long life, but we want that life to be a good life. And the three of us here, David, Kurt, our guest, and myself, have found products that we think facilitate the dogs being able to live, pets. I have a dog, you can tell. The pets being able to live longer. And we like to talk about that a little bit tonight. Usually we focus on just all things pets. So we can laugh and cry about our pets and tell stories and so forth. But tonight, a little bit more information about our mineral products. So our guest is Kurt Weeks. He is my mentor and friend, as well as David's. And we're just the three of us have a little conversation about the importance of those minerals, how you can determine if your pet is short on minerals. And if you are on live and you have any questions, you can put those in the chat. So, David, you want to start us off by?
Absolutely, Deb and Emily and Kurt, good to see you again. I'm so blessed to be here with you guys. I can not thank you both enough for introducing me and my dog to the mushroom supplements. They are amazing, by the way. They've helped me not only just with general health in my own life, but with my 16-year-old dachshund. And he's still kicking with everything he's been through. And he gets around out of his wheelchair. He's healthy. He's happy. And I blame you guys. I blame you guys. That's all I got to say.
Well, I'm glad. That's right. So, Kurt, what is the thing that is the most telling if your pet is short on minerals?
Debbie, that's a great question, and it's really broad spectrum around different signs for minerals because mineral depletion can lead to so many things. The outward sign that we see that dogs, cats, even things like chipmunks and horses will start to gnaw on fence posts. They'll start to gnaw on rocks. They'll eat more grass. They'll dig and eat the dirt that they're digging. They'll dig up their bones and eat them again. These are true signs that an animal is short on minerals. Other things that are there are things like hair coming out, bad breath. You can see Zeus has come in. He's getting ready to stay with us for the time. But dogs that end up being short on minerals end up having a myriad of problems, including allergies, itching, scratching, diarrhea, constipation. All of these things are signs that there is a mineral deficiency that's there.
Now, what kind of minerals are we looking at that dogs could be deficient in when they're looking, when you're starting to see signs? I mean, having a dog for 16 years, you see lots of signs of a lot of things. You take him to the veterinarian. But what are some of the telltale signs of mineral deficiency?
Um, so it depends upon the mineral, right? The deficiency that's there. The body needs magnesium to be able to process and turn into energy. So magnesium deficiency can be being lethargic. It can be lots of sleeping. It can be irritability, and that's just one of the 102 minerals that a dog needs. A dog grows more hair than you and I. They grow massive amounts of hair. They shed hair in the spring. They shed hair in the fall. Most dogs, horses, cats, and they need a bunch of minerals to be able to make the keratin that makes up the hair that's there. So you'll see dogs and cats lose clumps of hair, and that's another sign of things like calcium deficiency. Iron deficiency will be being tired. Frosted eyes, where their eyes will start to get frosted over. Those are deficiencies in minerals as well. Things like rickets can come about with a mineral deficiency, where their gait is not really there. They can't run as much. They don't do real well running up and down the stairs. And so it really depends upon the mineral that's missing, to the component that you see on the outward sign. Everything is built off of minerals. Our vitamins are developed in our bodies by our minerals. Our gut biome is built and sustained, processing all of our food because of the minerals that we have in our bodies. So we are mostly water, and the rest of us is made up of minerals.
Very good, Deb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's interesting. And it's obviously good to know, because especially with eating grass. I mean, I think the popular thing is not necessarily a deficiency, but people think, oh, my dog's eating grass, pet is eating grass. They have an upset stomach, and don't think along the lines of the mineral deficiency. Mm-hmm. So we've got two different ways to solve that problem of the deficiency. And one of them is through our product that is a little biscuit that is mineral rich in antler powder. And then the second one is the actual antler. Just a little bit about the antlers. We do not get them, and hopefully nobody does, but unfortunately they might, by cutting them off of a live animal when the antlers are attached. Because after the animals go through their mating season, at the end of the season, then they will lose their antlers. And so the antlers are there on the ground for the taking. So that is how we get the antlers. So it is not anything that would be any kind of disturbance to the animal itself. The quality of the antlers is also important. There's an A, a B, and a C grade antler. And the A grade is the top of the line. Just like you get A's in school, you get A's for being a great antler. And the B is also acceptable. The C grade is inferior and is not going to help your animal that much. Unfortunately, there are people who will take a C grade antler, and through the use, this is very disgusting since your dog's going to be chewing on it, or your pet is going to be chewing on it, and actually use furniture polish on it to get it to look like it's a A or a B grade antler. So you do have to be very cautious, just like with anything that you're going to give your pets, to make sure that you're getting them from a reliable source. So, Kurt, what do you have to add to that?
You're hitting the nail right on the head with that, Debbie. I think the great way to be able to see a quality antler, an antler is picked up. Here's a great story. There's a young lady. She finds out about the antlers, and she's devastated. She's like, I don't want to feed my dog antlers because she's thinking this comes off of the deer and elk. And then she finds out that deer and elk actually shed their antlers. They lose them. And there's folks that are called pickers that go up and pick them up after they're on the ground. And A-grade antlers are fresh, they're freshly come off the animal. B-grade antlers have been out in the rain and that maybe a half a season. And C-grade antlers are chalk. And chalk grade antlers will end up having a very shiny coat on them, a very shiny look to them. They'll smell funky, right? Because of the formaldehyde, the shoe polish, just like you're talking about. They get shellacked onto them. And they actually will splinter. C-grade antlers will splinter and cut into the digestive system. Any treat that you give an animal, you need to pay attention to the amount of chewing that they do. If you have an animal that is an aggressive chewer, you want to monitor that. But A-grade antler is more pliable and more digestible for the animal. So you hit the nail right on the head, Debbie. With A-grade antler, you always want that. It tends to be more expensive because it takes more to get it to market faster. Now, the biscuit that you shared is a very difficult process to be able to manufacture this biscuit, to be able to put the quality of the antler into the biscuit. And they take more antler than they take filler, and then it's baked slowly, so it's a hard biscuit for the teeth and those things. And then the animal ingests the biscuit that's there and gets all the nutrients from there. I'm thinking of Cody. I don't know whether you know this story. I've shared this with you, but Cody swallowed a rock because he was short on minerals, and his digestive system was about this big around. The rock was about this big around, and they gave him all kinds of laxatives, and he had to pass this. If you could imagine passing a rock, how painful that would be for the animal. And they got him on antlers. He doesn't eat rocks anymore. He doesn't eat dirt. He doesn't eat sand. And so, yeah, I love where you're coming from, Debbie, with the antlers, A, B, and C grade antlers, and definitely a quality natural product to be able to get your animals and keep them healthy with that.
So let me ask you this, Kurt. I mean, if you stumbled across a rack of antlers in the wild, would it be better to just hand that to your dog, or better to have ones that were certified and processed appropriately?
Man, that is a great question. And the things that I would look out for are the things that we look out for when we're harvesting other things in the wild. Where was the grazing area of this animal? Was it on farmland where they're eating corn and processed things, where they're getting pesticides in? Because the antlers are going to put the goodness or the badness of the land that they're on. So is this grass fed? Is this a wild roaming animal and it's there? Or was it fed by corn, wheat, and soy products as it was raised in a pen or around a farm area?
So we're looking for non-GMOs, yeah.
Yeah, if you pick up antler, and it's in a grassy area, a wilder area, sure, that's great. Just as long as it should look as if it's the texture of an egg, a fresh egg. You know how it kind of has a little sheen on it. It's kind of a little bit dull. It's not super shiny. And then just watch the dog and make sure that it doesn't splinter it off if it's an aggressive chewer.
That's great advice, man.
So what about if somebody has a pet who will tend to just chew and keep chewing, and we don't want that to happen. We want to, as you as you mentioned before, moderate how long. sorry, how long would you recommend that a pet owner let their pet chew on the antler before sneaking it away so that they can wait for another
Transitioning to
day?
something new. So if you do have an aggressive chewer, what I always recommend is that you get a much, much bigger antler for them. Start out with something medium for them. So twice the width of their mouth, right? And once it gets less than twice the width of their mouth, then it's time to start taking that antler away and replacing it with something else. Now, Zeus, one of his favorite things is having an antler, and then we also tie a hemp rope to that. And the hemp rope is digestible. And so they tear at that and have fun doing that, and they'll eat the marrow out of the middle of the antler. Now, more aggressive chewers will take a whole antler, and it may be so long. It may be 4 or 5 times the width of their mouth. And then once it gets to just about a little less than twice the width of their mouth, then you're going to take it away and replace it with another antler that's there. You always want to keep them. If they're an aggressive chewer, you'd rather them chewing on antler than chewing on shoes or walls or those kinds of things. I have 2 huskies, and much better than chewing on doors and couches, right, Zeus? He says yes.
You can reward him with a treat in a minute.
I totally never met or put together the 2 times their mouth size because I always had dachshunds. But that is like absolutely. I look back and I'm like, it's time to take this bone away because it's small enough you can choke on it, and that's not good. We don't want that, but it's also gonna start to splinter, and you can possibly have them choke on the splinters in the process. So, man, I never put that 2 and 2 together. That's amazing. That's good advice.
Yeah. Now, a dog's stomach has more acid than yours and than our stomach, right? They're able to digest bones and antlers and those things. They're able to digest those better than us. But just like you said, David, the bigger splinters can sit sideways in their esophagus, and that can be very dangerous for an animal. Let's touch base a little bit around other toys that are out there. So I have huskies. I admit it. You can see the one that's right back here in the picture. That's Zeus, and he's right here cleaning himself up. But a little story. We went to go do an event, and this was actually sponsored by a pet toy company. And these folks make some of the toys that we know of that are out there in the marketplace, and they're nylon and they're almost indestructible, and they advertise that this toy will last a long time. Ding dong is kind of part of what they do as well. Stuff treats in them, and the dogs chew on them. These things are made of rubber. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't digest rubber very well. And those plastics and rubber that go into my body would not be good for mine. And so I asked them about this, and they go, well, when it starts to get a little bit abraded, then you take that toy away and you give them another one. And I'm like, wait a minute, what about the little pieces that break off? Mm-hmm. And they go, well, most of the time they get passed.
Wait a second. Most of the time isn't good enough.
Exactly.
For my dog, most of the time doesn't work, right? Most of the time, the plastic bag that you eat is going to go through you. And so we took apart one of the toys, and it had a foam middle. Okay. Now, my dogs were notorious for chewing through these things to get to the squeaker. And it had a foam middle. And in the middle of this foam ball, there was a hole that went through the middle of it. And I'm like, that's weird. Why would you put a foam hole, or why would you put a hole in the middle of this foam ball? It says, because the dogs will eat the whole foam ball and swallow it. And our liability is that we put a hole in there so that they could still be able to breathe and digest.
What the heck?
So when we're looking at these pet products that are out there, I don't think that the pet companies are malicious in what they're doing, They just need to cover their own butts, and they're trying to satisfy the market in what they're looking for. Give me a pet, give me a toy that's indestructible, and I never have to watch my dog around it. There's not one of those things that are out there, right? If you have a heavy chewer, you're going to need to monitor that dog's chewing. If you have a dog that's a light chewer, no big deal. Get him a rawhide. No rawhides. I'm sorry. Take that away. Get him an antler. Let them chew on that, and then be able to work with the hemp rope to be able to, because the hemp rope is digestible, and those things are natural and would be found in nature, right? Those things are found in nature, and dogs, cats, mountain lions, horses are all gravitating towards those things. And so, yeah, love where this company has gone around toys and treats and those things. Yeah, love where they're going around those things, and that only digestible products are given.
That's fantastic. I forgot to introduce you guys to my pet mountain lion. He does love hemp rope, by the way. I do live close to the mountains, but no, that's great to know. I mean, like seriously, because when you look at digestible things in nature and all that, you've got mushrooms, vegetables, berries, all the things that bears eat. I live in Colorado, so you can literally sit back and just watch nature from a distance, safely, usually. But it's literally everything that we do when we're trying to live healthy. So are the animals. That's exactly the same thing, and it has benefited me substantially to be on mushroom supplements, uh, and like I can't even explain. But I don't want to go into me. It's not about me tonight. But the yeah, just
It's
nature.
about your pet mountain lion. That's what it
It's
is.
about my pet mountain
Absolutely.
lion.
So we went, David. We actually went to the. I ventured over to. Well, there's a retirement area for the tigers that are here, that were here in Vegas. They live really close to me, and so we went. We ventured over there. I ventured over there, and actually in their cages and in the pens that they are antlers. They're antlers that are already there for them. It's nature's way of being able to get them all the good nutrients that are there. Here's another thing that most folks don't know about antlers. And I found this out because as I did some research around antlers, I found out that it actually builds heart, lungs, kidneys, liver. And I'm like, where is all that coming from? Well, mineral
Wow.
deficiency will lead to an aspect where those are weakened. But when the deer and elk out in the wild are growing their antlers under the felt is the lining that's over the top of it. It's mostly protein. And the protein is putting in things like hormones and vitamins and those things to be able to build the antler. Once that felt comes off, it turns to bone. It turns to a bone like keratin substance, and it's absolutely chock full and locked full of all of those great nutrients that are there. And so, literally, mice to mountain lions will be eating on these antlers all the way through nature.
That's amazing. God is good, man. That's
Yeah, he
awesome.
is.
Yep.
So let me touch base on a scary part. I'll tell you a little scary story. Um, when I had my girl Zenta, and this is not Zenta in the picture that's here. When my girl Zenta, she lived to be 19 and a half years of age, but when she was 14, I was doing everything I could think of as a good, pet parent, dad, but I didn't know a thing, right? I was bringing home kibble from the store, and I was bringing home things like rawhides and foamy little toys for her, little squeakers in them, and I was giving them to her. And lo and behold, I didn't understand the digestive system and how that stuff gets stuck in there and doesn't come out. And rawhides and the pig ears and all those things, she loved them. But the more that I researched around them, the more I realized the efficacy in going to get these products. These are leather making products that they do, and they put formaldehyde and acids, glues, and then shoe polish to be able to make them colorful. Now, a dog doesn't see red, right? But those beautiful red rawhides that we see, or beautifully white, bleached out rawhides, you're not going to go to the sink and get a glass of water and pour some bleach in it so that it's super white for you, right? But yet I gave my Zenta these beautiful white rawhides that were literally coated and covered in this bleach that was there. And the efficacy on how they harvested these things and processed them was devastating to me. And I realized I led Zenta into this condition with these treats that I thought that the pet industry was looking out for my best interest. They're really looking out for the best interest of what they can sell us, right? Dogs don't see colors. So why are all the fuzzy, foamy things all beautiful colors? Hey, I really like this one, and my little fluffy critter is going to love it, right? My pet mountain lion is going to just love this little foamy treat. Don't feed him the foamy treat, right? Don't feed him the raw hides and those things. Feed them stuff that they can digest, stuff that they would find in nature.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more there. I mean, you walk down an aisle and everything's bright colors, and hey, look at me here, look at me there. Even my dogs, down the dog and pet aisle, whatever, King Supers or Walmart, everything's bright colors these days. And it's just to distract you from actually reading the label of the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably what we can take away from all of this is look at the ingredients and then look at the supplements that you can get for a very cost effective uh, price that are so much better than what you can buy over the counter at the store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and let me use Zeus here for an example as he's sitting on the bed. There's Zeus. Okay. Now, Zeus is 50 pounds. So because he's a 50-pound animal, he's not going to, a treat that's this big, a milk bone, those things that are full of fillers and those things, this is going to be way, way, way too much food for a snack. He needs something that would be something like liver, like a freeze-dried liver treat. And I'll show you the size of these things are. And look at him. He's like, oh, okay, I'm ready for this.
Oh, it's time. It's time.
This
Bye,
is
Daddy.
a perfect little portion of this. And to give you an idea, there's the size of it as a square. And he's like, okay, this is great. One or two of those is a perfect treat for him. And it's the perfect amount of nutrition that's there, liver and the mushrooms associated with that. But it's a great way to be able to give them treats that are good and healthy for them. And there's another little chip of liver. Now, to you and I, this looks so small, but to them, this is a whole snack. This is a whole snack that's there. Come here, Stormy. And then this is Stormy. Okay. You need another one? Okay. And that's the two. And so they're snacked, right? But we tend to overtreat our animals, and not that we mean them disharm, but the sizes are designed for us because we want to feel good that we're feeding our animals a large portion of something yummy. But yet a small portion of a liver treat, a small portion of a biscuit that's about that size is all that they need for the size animal that they are. Now, if you have a Great Dane and it's 130 pounds, yeah, you're going to need some plus biscuits. You're going to need some horse biscuits. You're going to need something that's bigger for that animal. But most of the time, our animals that we have are on average 35 to 45 pounds. and they don't need all that.
Yep.
And Pooh Bear,
Excuse me, sorry, Kurt.
yeah.
How often throughout the day do you give them the freeze-dried liver, the little square?
Yeah, they're spoiled at my house. They will get, the cat will come up to ask for treats 3-4 times in the day. She gets one square. This is an animal that's less than 10 pounds. She'll get one of those squares and she'll want more. And so I won't give her two. She may want more. She can get another one at another time. But they're very rich. And so I don't want her eating that as her whole food, but she may get that 3 or 4 times through the course of the day. As soon as I open it up, the other animals are coming to get theirs. And then the biscuits that are there, when Zenta was declared ready for hospice care at 14 years of age, when the vet basically gave up on her and said, you can go ahead and put her down, she's old. She could get as many of those as she wanted. They were the mushroom treats that David was talking about, except in a dog form. David's not eating dog biscuits, but you could.
Actually,
they're designed for humans.
That's not entirely true. Actually, if Peyton isn't in the mood, I finish it for him. I'm just saying.
I could see it.
It's food grade. It's people grade.
I can see it right now.
And I like peanut butter.
Here's yours, Peyton. Here's mine. Here's the mountain lions. I don't have a mountain lion name yet, but it's one of those. Yeah. So Zenta could have as many as she wanted. And the antler treats, the antler biscuits, are the same size as the mushroom ones. And she could have as many of those as she wanted too. There's no overdosing on food, right? Unless it's chocolate cake. No chocolate cake for your animals, right? But they can have as many of them as they want. You don't want them to spoil their appetite for dinner and those things. Be a good pet parent and those things. But yeah, that's a great question, Debbie. How many? At my house, they get spoiled rotten. They get treats on a regular basis, but we serve them in sizes that are going to be appropriate for what's going on for them. For their
So let me ask you this: how mineral and food dense are those particular liver treats as to something that you could buy over the counter that's manufactured by a pet company?
Okay. That's an amazing question, David. So one of these little squares, and Stormy's over here asking for another one.
It's my fault. You can blame me.
Yeah.
The mountain lion's behind you, by the way.
The mountain lion, yeah. So this little treat that's right there, you can see it. It's kind of zoomed in there. Yep. You can see about the size of it that's right there. This little treat will have more nutrition than a 40-pound bag of milk-bone dog biscuits.
That's insane.
So this one little treat. So, of course, we're not going to feed them 15 or 20 of these. They'll eat them. Zeus would eat the whole bag.
And at some point, they're going to max out, and then you're just wasting it. So, yeah.
You're just, yeah. They're going to thoroughly enjoy it. Oh, we get Zeus in here. Here you go, buddy. You ready for yours? Okay. He's like, yes, I'll take it.
What I get away from this is, I've had to rotate Peyton's diet many times throughout his years, and his dad and his mom. But the one thing that I found is once they're nutrient dense, they don't eat so much. Once they have what they need, they're not as hungry. They just want water. They want clean water. They want their, snacks. They want their proteins. They want the supplements that we can give them. And that's how you make a dog live longer than in people years, longer than most people.
Wow, that is exactly it. I literally had I'm certified in pet nutrition, and I share this with folks that are out there. I touched base with a lady about her animal, and she got on the food that we work with a company around. This is a grade 5 food of all the foods that are out there, and so because it's so nutrient dense, she's actually feeding, instead of 2.5 cups of this other kibble, she's feeding 3/4 of a cup all day, and the dog is satiated, right? Is satisfied.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the dog is pooping less. But she gives me a call and she says, now I'm getting little poop balls like this. And is that normal? And I said, yeah, because the dog's digesting all the food that's there, right?
Yeah.
And because it's nutrient dense and that, she goes, I think I'm starving the dog. I said, look at the dog, right, and see where the rib cages are. And we took a look at where the animal's backbone comes down, and where you see the you can see the first rib but not the second, and you can feel it right down their backbone. Now if you look at Zeus, he is husky, no, all husky. He's a solid guy. Then Stormy's a little bit on the lighter side, but there should be a taper that's there. And this dog had a nice taper, was still doing very, very well around everything, but on 3/4 of a cup of food instead of 2.5 cups of food.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine your gut. Imagine eating 3 or 4 chunks of lasagna every single day to try and get your nutrition. Now, I would love that for one meal, maybe 2, but not every day of the week. I would be lethargic, and yet we offer that to our animal. They get the same food all the time, and all the fillers that are associated with it. So David, you hit the nail right on the head around food and nutrient density.
Well, and I can wrap that up because my mom has a lot of deer that visit her yard, and you said little poop balls. Well, guess what deer do? They poop in little balls. They
Uh-huh.
don't have stringy poop streams. They don't do loose stools. They're just nutrient dense. They eat what they need, and that's it. They move on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that humans should operate. Our pets should operate. Even though we like to spoil them. I'm just saying. But
mice, rabbits, and snakes.
yeah, they're all pellets.
Even
It's all
yeah,
pellets.
they're all pellets. Even horses, if you think about it, is a pellet is just appropriate for the size of the animal, right?
Yeah, correct.
Debbie's like, why did we go with this show?
Right.
Are you,
Why did we go
Dave,
down
are
this
you
road?
asking me what? Are you about to ask why did I let Dave on the show tonight? We're talking poop.
Of course not. I wouldn't be asking that. All right. Well, oh golly, do I dare? All right, David, do you have any
Better.
closing things before we ask Kurt for his closing things? I might want to close my ears for both.
I'm just gonna say that, man, it is so good to be with both of you, all of the time. Anytime that we can get together and talk pet health, human health. We have the Crossroad Company, and Deb's gonna give you more information about that. Kurt, such a good friend. I wish we could talk more often, but I'm sure we'll work that out in the future. But you guys are awesome. I love pets. I love people, and nothing makes me happier than keeping pets and people happy. How about that?
Sounds good.
That's
Kurt, to
fabulous.
you.
I love it, and I'm going to add on to that that we actually love our animals, and we're moving things forward as we look at Debbie and we look at David. These are leaders in their communities around taking care of animals and making a difference for those that can't speak for themselves, right? Pooh Bear can't speak for himself, and so neither can the mountain lion at this point in time, right? Those that we care about, we want to take care of. And I love where you guys are coming from. I love where the company itself has come from, where it's looking to make a change, but not in the corporate interest. Word of mouth, connection, bring people into the podcast. Let's tell stories. Let's talk about pet health. Let's figure out a solution for animals, for our people, and those things. And Debbie, I'm sure you'll have those conversations around people and that as well as we go along with these podcasts. I'd love to be able to come back share some stories around all of that. And I love being in a group of leaders who are making a difference in our world today. So thank you very much.
Thanks
All
for your
right.
time, Kurt.
Thank you. And yes, audience, you can go to debspets.com. That is my specific branding site, but it will take you directly to the website. You can learn more. If you have questions, you can go to my LinkedIn site, which is linkedin.com/n/Debbie-Hayes-AZ. Oh,
So that's debspets.com. Yes.
yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And does debspets.com has videos and all the things, some of the things that we talked about here today as well?
It does.
Nice.
Yes.
So,
All right. Emily, would you close us out, please?
Wrap it up.
Uh,
Emily's like, I'm tired of you guys talking poop. Just go to Deb's Pets and figure it out from there.
right. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. Again, we are here every Tuesday, so we join us again next week. We'll have another great guest, and yeah, so everybody have a safe and productive week, and stay happy.
All right. Thank
God
you,
bless you
Emily.
all. Thank you, Emily, for hosting.